Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to the New Year's edition of the My Deep Guide news, and I'm all festive for the occasion. So I'm going to kick off with what you can expect in the January of 2025, following up with some more global 2025 decisions and hopes that I have for My Deep Guide. So in January, what you can look forward to are the upcoming in-depth reviews of the Dasum paper-like, color godlike type of refresh speed monitor. I've been using that one for a while now, created even a custom setup so that I can really give it the beans and how I would use it in real life in my own kind of situations, so I can see where does it fit, how does it fit into a person's daily type of functions and operations. And I think that that's going to be a difficult video to record because there's going to be a lot of things. One thing that I can absolutely promise you that you cannot expect to see is how does it fare in the outside in sunshine. Why not? Well, because it's the middle of winter and I live in the far north, which means it's, even though it's the southern part of Norway, but it's still far north to actually ensure that the weather is, well, suboptimal for those kinds of things. But that's definitely something that is going to come relatively soon in January. Then the next one in line is going to be also the Supernote A5X2 or the Manta. Now that one I am still testing, so that's not going to be in early January. It's going to be mid to second half of January, not really sure there yet, but I really want to test it out properly so that I can see how it behaves on a long-term basis, because it's one thing to just do the measurements and things like that, but it's a completely different thing when you are using the device in a daily capacity, and basically that offers a different type of insight, and it offers the opportunity to expose some of the shortcomings or some of the benefits or positives of a device. So I try to give the same type of attention to most of the devices, especially the ones that are considered fairly important for the e-note taking or e-paper market of devices. Also, I have gotten confirmation that the Boox Note Max has been sent, so it is on its way. When it's going to arrive, I really doubt that it's going to get here in 2024 because Norwegian Post Office basically shuts down on December 22nd. And then you can expect it to reopen and maybe start delivering stuff from January 2nd. So I don't expect to get that before 2025, but as soon as I do receive it, there will be an unboxing video. Then again, same like with the Manta, there's going to be a testing period and an in-depth review, but I think that the in-depth review is probably going to be early February rather than late January. And in conjunction with all of that, you can expect these standard types of Q&As, My Deep Guide news, and following up with the updates and all that kind of stuff as it regularly pops up during the month. Now onwards onto the new stuff and the ambitions that I have for 2025. I've used some of the time off now that I've had to actually relax, obviously, but as I started to relax, more space became available in my brain to think about things that do excite me, things that I am passionate about. And one of the things that is really a quest for me and why My Deep Guide exists in the first place is basically quantification of an experience, right? So I introduced the DESTA test with trying to capture the writing experience, then with the surface to screen distance and the resistance of the screen surface and all of these kinds of things, kind of trying to quantify these things and understand what constitutes a good writing experience. However, this time I have devised a series of really in-depth and rigorous testing methodologies to try and start the process of quantification of the image quality and screen quality experience for the e-ink devices that I have here on My Deep Guide. Now, the series of tests that I have are fairly rigorous and fairly demanding, I've been working through the methodology, writing it all down, classifying it, preparing the database, preparing the everything, charts, sheets, and the methodology basically, to try and see how feasible actually is it. One of the problems is that this type of methodology, especially with e-ink devices or e-paper devices, isn't being done in a proper way, in my opinion. And that's why I want to change that and offer a really in-depth analysis and quantification of image quality and screen quality on these different devices that are coming up. The challenge is going to be cutting things down so that the production of videos and the review process is actually feasible for me under my current capacity, because I don't have any helpers or anything like that. I'm doing this completely on my own, and I want to find a balance that's going to work well. So I'm going to be working with refining these tests and testing methodologies and prioritizing these things and trying to collate things and trying to kind of condense it down into something that makes most sense. So you won't be seeing the new testing methodologies on the Supernote Manta or the Books Note Max yet, I think, in the in-depth reviews. However, once I have the testing methodologies all done and ready, and that kind of process is inserted into the production pipeline, I will revisit all of the devices that I currently still have with me. Granted, there's going to be a huge minority of devices that are out there in the wild, but I can only work with what I currently have. So I'm really excited about this because I like the scientific method, I like the quantification of things, I like all of that stuff very much, especially because once you get a measurable result that's repeatable and that's verifiable, and then you combine that with the subjective impression, I think that quantification really helps to understand what are the things that give us a perception of pleasing image quality, good contrast, or things like that. Is it really the contrast, or is it something else, right? So those are the things that I'm very interested in, and there's going to be, I hope that I can get as many of these tests into the standard reviewing things. So the ambition is very high. We will see how much of it I can slot in, but the idea is that My Deep Guide in-depth reviews get even more in-depth and start offering something that we don't simply have anywhere else. And I think that it's an important element of this community and of understanding these devices and this technology. And in addition to that, there's going to be new types of contents that I'm not going to be revealing just yet, because I want to kind of prioritize, distill them down to the ones that I like the most. Obviously, the priority is going to be the new testing thing, so I need to see what kind of time impact that kind of has, and then how much time is left during the month to invest into these types of things. But one of the things that I can tell you is that I'm going to try and work on periodic pieces that are much more different and not really investigative journalism or anything like that, but more kind of relating to addressing some of the issues and the importance and the value of the e-ink technology. What are myths, what are not myths, what's real, and again with the focus on quantifiable data, studies that have been already done, and trying to understand the world of e-paper and the importance of it from a more concrete perspective. And on top of that as well, there's going to be regular content as usual. So that's it as far as the My Deep Guide news goes, and this is the last edition of My Deep Guide news for 2024. If I made the scheduling correctly, then this video should come out on December 31st, so I want to extend to you a heartfelt happy new year, a lot of happiness, health, and cheer and love in 2025, and I want to also express a really deep thanks to your support, to your kindness, to your everything that you bring to the community, and especially to My Deep Guide. It really means a lot, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Here's to 2025, new challenges, new knowledge, new understandings, and see you in 2025. Bye.